May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. So yesterday was the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I must say that I really enjoy most celebrations of the 4th of July, particularly those with the traditional elements like fireworks. Fireworks are loud. Fireworks are pretty and colorful and bright, kind of like us. Occasionally annoying. Fireworks were invented in China. You know that, right? And then we go and we eat hamburgers and hot dogs. And hamburgers and hot dogs come from Germany. That's cool. And if you want a tomato on your hamburger, then you get a tomato which was developed and grown in the Americas, along with corn on the cob. Over centuries, genius farmers came up with corn on the cob, converted a kind of grass into, corn is grass, it's kind of grass, and invented this beautiful, powerful crop for us, come from the Americas. It's great. Watermelon, you have watermelon on 4th of July. You know where watermelon comes from? Watermelon comes from Africa, originally. Plus the tunes and the music that we listen to while we're standing by the grill, flipping our burgers, are strongly influenced by echoes and rhythms that come by twists and turns and great endurance and strange means from Africa as well. Yeah. Now, I don't think we have anything from Australia on the 4th. Anybody know of anything from Australia from the 4th of July?
I have kangaroos.
We have kangaroos. The essential element of the 4th of July celebration is the kangaroo. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Huh?
Food on the Barbie.
All right. Yeah. Okay, good. It is a grand thing. What is it that we celebrate? I would suggest that the United States is more than a landmass, a stretch of territory. Although the land is essentially important, it's vital and holy, like all land is holy. And I think the United States is probably more than a set of legal and political arrangements, because too often legal and political arrangements can be twisted away from their original purpose. And that's good that we're more than that then. I think we're getting a little bit closer when we say the United States is an idea or a dream, or based on an idea or a dream, right? Except I think that an idea is something that we generally can comprehend and understand, and a dream we might even be able to bring into reality, can't we? But I wonder whether the United States might be based on a truth, which, unlike a dream or an idea, generally comes from God. And as such, can only be understood a little bit at a time. We grow in it. We deepen in it. We become better at practicing it. I wonder whether the United States is a journey into a truth more than anything else. And here's the truth, laid out reasonably clearly by our friend Thomas Jefferson. We hold these truths to be self-evident. We do. Now, we might disagree on all kinds of other truths, yes, but we hold these truths to be self-evident. We, people in the United States. That all men, and by all men we mean all people, and if you don't think it means all people, we need to talk after church, okay, because we've got a lot longer conversation than we have time for here, and this is going to go on way too long anyway. All right. So, okay, all people are created equal. Whew. Regardless of citizenship status. Doesn't say citizens. All citizens are created equal. Regardless of religion or ethnic background. You are to be treated with dignity. With the same dignity if you're a black teenager walking into an expensive department store as if you are a white 75-year-old. No extra points for being Christian either. Okay? Doesn't say we the Christians in the Constitution. Some of us speak of the United States as a Christian nation. And it kind of depends, that may be true, on what you mean by a Christian and what you mean by a nation, right? If you say the United States is a Christian nation because most of us are Christian, well, actually, that is true. According to the Pew Research Center, as of 2024 or so, about 63% of the people in the United States call themselves Christian, identify as Christian, okay? So, when it was founded, most of the people probably identified as Christian. Now, most of the people do. Actually, that's a kind of a dipping where it was going down pretty quick, and then it's sort of leveling off. It might level off there. Anyway, the numbers. So in that way, yeah, Christian nation, sure. Are our institutions and our legal arrangements and our laws set up to benefit Christianity? No, absolutely not. The Declaration of Independence is at best what they call deist, where God creates the world and then we're all on our own. And in the Constitution mentions God even less than the Declaration of Independence. In the Constitution, the one mention of God is year of our Lord 1787 or something like that. All right? So it is a designation of time. It's like saying an atheist says the year is 2021. You say that atheist is Christian because they used a Christian-based timeline. We start our time at the birth of Jesus. So you can argue about it, but the Constitution mentions nothing about Jesus, nothing about the incarnation, nothing about his miracles or teaching, nothing about his death for us, and nothing about his resurrection. It's not Christian. Not supposed to be. Now, I personally get a little bit torqued out when we think that maybe our laws should support our Christianity. For example, maybe we should make a law that we used to have where nobody should be open on Sunday morning, right? So that everybody can go to church. It's almost as if we're saying, oh, Jesus, you're so weak and so put upon and so threatened. Come over here. We will protect you with our laws. We will protect you with our institutions. Really? Does Jesus need our protection? Jesus is wilder than that. Are we Christian because we follow the teachings of Jesus as a nation? Well, kind of yes and kind of no, right? And we started out with a good idea, all people are created equal. And that meant at the time that if you were a white man and you had property, then you got to vote. Not you women. No. Stay in your place. Also, if you were a plumber, a carpenter, you didn't get to vote, you didn't get to hold office. So you were not as equal as the rich guys. And then we kind of expanded it expanded it out to the plumbers and the carpenters and everybody. They got to vote and hold office. So you could do that then, except for the African American folk. And then not you. And then some of the African American folk got this idea that maybe they could be free. Yeah. And then they got joined up by the Quakers. The Quakers are very annoying. The Quakers have this questionable theology because it's all about what we do with the Quakers' theology. But they always get it right and they're like 150 years ahead of everybody else when it comes to right and wrong and morals. Really annoying. And they got together with the African Americans and made a whole movement called abolitionism, and they said we shouldn't do slavery anymore. It's a bad thing. And I'm a Southerner, so I get to speak this way about the South. And the South said, we want to be free. We want to be free to sell a 3-year-old away from her mother for our money. It wasn't about freedom. It was about money. Fought an awful bloody war about it. Came up with the 14th Amendment. Now black men would be able to vote. Not you women now. Any place. Except the southern states, well, we are free to limit our voting to only the people who are good enough and smart enough. And so they put all kinds of laws, and Jim Crow got instated, and they started lynching people, and it was awful and horrible. And then in the 1880s, they also said, no, not you people from East Asia. Chinese Exclusion Act, not you Chinese. All these Chinese people are coming to take away our jobs. It's terrible. They're corrupting our morals. It's terrible. 1920s, women did win the right to vote. Not you women, not you black women now. Not in the South. 1930s, we had the Depression, and the government came up with ways to help people to survive and to people get back on their feet, except not you. If you're an agricultural worker or a domestic worker, which was predominantly African-American men and women. We had World War II. And the veterans came home, and after having risked their lives and their bodies for the sake of our freedom and safety, the government said, we should have low-interest loans and free college for these people. And they included the African-American men, veterans who come home. This is good. Did I say that truth is a journey? Yeah. That it's a hard journey? That it hurts? That taking a step in the journey of truth means that we have to swallow our pride and sometimes give up our benefit, even our financial benefit. Did I say that yet? The government said, yes, they bled and died for us. They should receive the same benefits, they said. But the colleges said, no, not you. We have our quotas. We have our standards. Plus, a lot of the African-American men had to stay home and work to feed their families because their family has not been assisted during the Depression. You see how these things roll over. And then the real estate agents said, no, not you. You can get a loan, yeah, but we're not going to sell to you because who wants to live next to a black family? It'll lower the property values. About money. So in the 1960s, we had the Civil Rights Act, which helped. Okay? It is a journey. It was a step on a journey. The steps on a journey are hard. The Civil Rights Movement was hard. It was unpopular. So now, how are we doing on our journey? Are we treated with equal dignity? Are our medical systems and institutions, are our educational systems and institutions, are our criminal justice systems and institutions, our economic systems and institutions, do they treat everyone with equal dignity? Do you get the benefit of the doubt no matter what your background is? Now, these days we have many ideas and many opinions and many analyses and many solutions that we will come up with regarding these things as Americans. And we will disagree with them because we come from different places and we have different levels of education and kinds of education and different upbringings, and that's good and that's necessary because these are complex problems and we need more than just one way of looking at things to address them. So we need to listen to each other, and we need to work together, and we need to compromise, and we need to be humble, and no crusades. Focus on the issues and the problem. But I will say this. If your analysis and your solutions don't require you to listen to anybody else but people who agree with you, don't require you to sacrifice, don't require you to be uncomfortable, then it will do no good. It will be wrong. No matter where you come from, no matter what your position or your background is. Paul writes in his letter to the Romans, I don't do what I want to do. What I set out to do, I don't do. He said this about himself. But we see it as a picture of what it means to be human and what it means to be a nation, any nation. The United States is a human institution. It is not a divine institution. And as any human institution, it will fail. So I wonder whether the more useful question is not whether or not we're a Christian nation, as what we do as Christians in this nation. That's my question. In the gospel lesson for today, Jesus is annoyed and frustrated because the people, you can't please them. John the Baptist comes along, he's pretty severe. People say he's crazy. And Jesus comes along and he eats and drinks with people and hangs out with people, and people say he's a glutton and a drunkard. You can't please him, he says. But wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. Okay? Here, Jesus is connecting himself with a major figure in the Hebrew scripture called Lady Wisdom, who existed at the creation, who is a divine figure who stands on the edge of town as a prophetess on the edge of the street corner and calls people into life. Proverbs chapter 9. And elsewhere in Jewish writings. Jesus also is present before creation. He participates in the creation of the world. He is divine, and he stands on the street corner calling us to life. He connects himself with this figure of Lady Wisdom, and he says, wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. What is it that makes Jesus true? What is it that convinces us that he is from God? It's what he does. He does miracles that heal people, both rich and poor, foreign-born and native-born. He seeks to heal people, even when it doesn't seem like he's got enough for his own. He feeds these people, and he stands up to people who twist the laws of God away from their original intention, which is to help us to love one another and love God, and into ways that burden and twist and crush people's souls. He stands up to those folks and he forgives. He's about the business of rebuilding relationships that have been broken, and he sacrifices himself so that we can live. This is what Jesus does. These are the deeds of Jesus, our wisdom, and this is what proves him to be the Son of God. So what do we do as Christians in whatever nation where we live? We're about the business of healing, and healthcare, and wholeness, mind, body, and spirit for everybody, no matter how rich or poor you are. We're about the business of feeding people. And yes, we do have enough food for everybody if we set that as a priority, and not just the United States. It's not just our fault. It's the various other nations of the world too, and all their conflict and everything like that. So it's a complex, knotted problem. It's not easy, but this is one of the things we work on doing as a Christian community, to witness to wisdom, Jesus, the wisdom of God. We stand up to people who use the law of God in such a way that it gets twisted away from love of neighbor and love of God and into ways that tear and hurt people's souls. We're about the business of rebuilding relationships with people with whom our relationships have been broken. And that's not just personal. That's across national and ethnic lines. And we're willing to sacrifice. We're willing to sacrifice in order to show Jesus to the world. Wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. And yet, on the other hand, at the end of our gospel lesson, and I'm skipping over Chorazin and Bethsaida because it's really scary and it takes a long time to talk about, but the fear of the Lord, there's a place for the fear of the Lord. Right? Let's just say that. But at the end of the passage, Jesus says, come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden. All of this stuff sounds awfully hard to do, and it does require sacrifice, but here is the end point. That the grace of God moves through us. And so whatever we choose to do, and we do need to choose to do, in order to witness. Whatever we choose to do, it is a part of the grace of God and not our own doing. So my burden is easy and my yoke is light. That it needs to be taken from out of the grace of God and the love of God, and not the fear and not the rage. Thanks be to God.